This is why I love cold therapy. It saved my life. Everything changes when we step into the cold.
Joe, it's great to have you here. Welcome to the podcast series, Stepping into the Cold. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what got you into cold therapy.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, mate. It's a pleasure to be here. Happy days. So a little bit of background on me. I'm a film and photographer. So I run my own company doing film and photography. I also do, how do I put it, like entertainment work. So like specializing in circus skills, such as acrobatics, fire breathing, stilt walking, character work, all kinds of stuff like that. Dabbling a little bit of trading as well. And a little bit more background on stuff. I'm quite active, so I like my calisthenics training, bits of jiu-jitsu. I used to do kickboxing and gymnastics as well. Just anything active, really, that I can get my hands on, I enjoy doing.
Nice. And so the podcast is about highlighting people's journeys through cold therapy. And so how long have you been using cold therapy for, and really what got you started in the cold therapy? How did you get started?
So for me, getting started in cold therapy, I think it was around maybe about a year and a half, nearly 2 years ago now. I did my first dip in one of the reservoirs about half an hour away from me. Basically, I moved in with a friend from university, and he introduced me to a new group of lads and lasses that were all about fixing your mindset, improving yourself on the inside as well as the outside, doing the work and everything like that. And one of the things what they did quite often was called cold therapy. So they introduced me to that. We went down to one of the reservoirs, and I was a bit nervous at first. Well, I was a bit nervous, but at the same time, I was kind of like, oh yeah, this will be easy. I think I was more nervous because it was a reservoir and more potentially like you could get in trouble for it. But for the cold, I was like, yeah, I deal with the cold, I'm fine. And all this like, I'll go outside when it's snowing in a t-shirt, blah, blah, blah. Macho kind of little bit of toxic masculinity behind it, should we say. And then as soon as I got in, it was such a shock. It was like, oh, what is this? Like the pain through the legs and through my lower back, especially, like the hot kind of pins and needles kind of feeling. And I was like, instantly just like, nah, can't do this, no chance, no, I'm not doing it, blah, blah, blah. And the lads really kind of supported me through it. They were just like hyping me up, keeping the energy alive and stuff. Like, come on, we can do it, it's fine, you're perfectly safe, you're all good, it's not going to kill you. I was like, I feel like I'm going to die. Like, obviously they were very much like, it's not going to kill you, it's perfectly good for you. And this is before I'd done any kind of research into it. I knew through my gymnastics and kickboxing, like when you get an injury, using like a cold ice pack or something helps with it and everything. But I thought, oh yeah, it's just physical recovery, there's no major mental benefits to it, should we say. But I was like, oh yeah, no, come on, it'll be good for me, I'll sit in it and I'll just deal with it. I think I did a couple of minutes, maybe like 4 or 5 minutes or something. I was like, right, I've had enough, I'm getting out. But so as I was getting out, they're all cheering, they're all chanting, saying, yes, come on, you've done it, well done, blah, blah, and everything like that, really supportive with it. And I was like, as I got out, I got that first kind of rush feeling that you get when you come out. And I just felt incredible. I was like, oh, my body feels brand new. Like in a matter of minutes, like my body felt great. Like, I mean, my lower back, I could feel it kind of vibrating and heating up. And I was like, but it feels like it's doing good. It wasn't like it's hurting in a bad way. It's like, oh, it's identifying a problem. And then I went away and looked into it a bit more, spoke with the guys about it, and they explained a bunch of stuff to it, a bunch of stuff about it. And yeah, I was hooked from then, really, just as many times as I could, as often as I could. Obviously life gets in the way sometimes, but it's about, for me now, it's about putting that time aside in order to do it. And it's becoming more of a necessity and a priority rather than something that I just do with the guys every now and again. It's like, no, I need to do this because I know it does help now.
Yeah. So I clearly know where you live. We're friends, Joe. We do a lot of mindset stuff, Tony Robbins stuff together. But just obviously for people that are listening to this, you just explain sort of that area and the sort of where you was. And I don't know if anybody that you was with when you first did cold therapy, if they recorded the temperature, or you know what the temperature was, or if you can just tell us what time of year and that it was, just so that people can, you know, get an understanding where you live and the weather difference from where we are, where I am and where you are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I'm based in Leeds in the UK. So, and it's right in the centre, so it's not near like beaches or anything like that. The places what we go to are more like reservoirs or natural like water springs and stuff like that. If we travel up to the Lake District, for example, when we go on hikes, we'll jump in the water, the natural streams and stuff in there, and just anywhere and everywhere that we can do it, really. For the first time, we didn't record the actual temperature. It was in the summer, so it wasn't freezing cold. Don't get me wrong. It was maybe around 10 to 12, maybe a little bit hotter, because it had been hot for a few days. But for me, for the first time, it was such a shock. Like, I hadn't even done a cold shower before then. I jumped in an ice bath before after a rugby match when I was younger, and instantly, I don't even think I used my arms and my legs to get back out. I think I literally went in and bounced straight back out. Like, I was just gone. But apart from that, it was the first time really delving into it, and that was cold for me. But then since then, obviously, we've done a lot more where it's been snowing outside, so we've walked down. So one of the main places that we go to is is a reservoir, and you walk down a little bit of a trail, and then we just jump in off the little side bit and go in through there. We always, with it being in a reservoir as well, we always keep it as much as we can to a level where we can still stand, just for aspects of safety and stuff like that. But yeah, we tend to go to reservoirs. There's a couple around us, and then when we can, we go on hikes, Lake District, Peak District. If there's a bit of water about, we're more than likely going to jump in. So yeah, it's a lot more natural kind of areas rather than like the artificial ones, such as like we do still do obviously like ice baths. Like Johnny, one of our guys, he's got a barrel in his back garden. What he uses, we've gone around and used that a couple of times as well. But we find that like with the cold as well, what really sets us in good places is like when we are going outside to do it as well, which is great. You get that mix with it. But then if it is a struggle to kind of put that time aside, so we do go for like half days and stuff like that, then jumping straight in the showers is just absolute wonders. Absolute wonders. Showers or baths every single morning if we can now. Sometimes on an evening. For me personally, I don't do it on an evening just because I find that it wakes me up more. I'll do it after a training session in the gym, but the annoying thing is in the gym the water doesn't get cold enough, which is really kind of frustrating. It's not like in outside where the water's freezing cold. I find a lot of the time the showers at home and the showers in the gym just don't quite hit the same. They can't quite get to that, like, especially in the summer. It's like a lukewarm half the time, so it doesn't hit that spot. Whereas outside, even in the middle of the summer, it's still quite a bit colder than as normal showers. So yeah, but at any point that I get now, mostly on a morning now, even if it's for a couple of minutes, just whilst I'm getting a normal shower, flick it onto the cold and we're straight in.
But the problem with the showers is the reason why we created CRYOSHOWER.
Exactly.
I will ask you to share your socials at the end of this, Joe. But what I will say to anyone that's watching is to go check out some of your contact, because you have an amazing cold therapy community.
That's brilliant.
And some of the, going to some great places, great settings. So I really will, like, when you share that at the end, I really encourage people to go and check that out, because you guys take it to a whole new level.
This is what we like to do. We're very kind of like, I'd say before I met these guys, I was outgoing, but the guys that I'm with now are just, obviously you know them, they're on a different level. They're absolutely insane. It's best group of lads that I've ever met in my life. So completely changed my life, like through countless different aspects. So yeah, we like to push the limits, should we say, on a lot of stuff.
What is it? So what do you typically do in a week? Obviously, you've got such a busy schedule. You're here, there, and everywhere on shoots. So, but generally, what do you like? One is, what do you generally like to do? Let's take away, obviously, if you're on traveling for shoots and stuff. So, but typically when you're at home, what is it that you would generally do in a week for your cold water exposure?
If like I say, if I'm not working, I will try and put time aside at least once or twice a week to go out and do some cold water therapy outside. So whether it's in the reservoir, whether we're set an intention to go on a hike and then find somewhere outside. Usually every single morning now we will get up, pint of cold water if I can straight away, if I can avoid the brain freeze. Sometimes I'll leave a glass of water on the side so it's not freezing cold, like over the night.
Yeah.
But as horrible as it sounds, I've got a lot of dogs in the house, so there's a lot of hairs. So I've kind of stopped doing that because the dog hairs like to sit just on the top of the water. So I usually pour literally every single time, coughing up fur balls. So I I tend to get a cold glass of water and drink that straight away. I've kind of come off my morning routine a little bit, but I am implementing it again. The reason why I came off is because I got really busy for the past couple of months, which was great. But for the mental health aspect, it wasn't. It kind of brought me layers and layers down from where I was. Financially, it was great, which has been brilliant because I've been able to put more money into the investments.
Yeah.
And before I took all this work on, I set an intention to say that this is only going to be temporary. I'm only doing this slot of work for the next couple of months. It will affect me mentally, but it is going to put me in a better position for the up and coming investments that I wanted to do. So I was willing to sacrifice a margin of my mental health, should we say, which I'm not condoning whatsoever. Like, I don't think that I think we should try and avoid that at all costs. But I have still been doing the work as often as I can to stay on top of it. Whereas if I wasn't doing the work like before, when I would burn myself out like I have done, I would be miles lower, like miles lower. I know we've spoken in the past, and you've seen me in some deep dark places, as like we say, like, I know your story as well. You've got such an incredible story, and I know how much the work and cold water therapy has done for you. Yeah. So I've used these as inspirations the entire time to stay on top of it. Not as well as what I have done when I haven't been as busy, but still stay on top of it. So what I tend to do is get up, get straight into a normal shower. I prefer to start with a hot shower and then jump in and then finish with a cold. Sometimes if I'm in a big rush, I will just get straight in and do a cold shower. I'll totally skip the hot shower, which is horrendous. I will say, to say the least. Like, it's not my favorite thing to do, but I know it's going to benefit me. So I will just jump straight into a cold shower. Couple of minutes. If I've got spare time, I'll try and stand in there for 8 to 10 minutes. If I've not got that much time, I will literally just jump in and get washed whilst I'm in the cold. A lot of the time, I will brush my teeth in there as well. And if I'm doing it in the cold shower, I use my left hand. I can't remember where I read it from, but they said that doing a series of uncomfortable activities all at the same time helps your brain with problem solving quite a lot. So I brush my teeth with my left hand, as well as standing in the cold water. Yeah. And it's great. It's absolutely great. Jump straight out. Like I say, if I've got the time, if I'm not working, I will do my Wim Hof breathing straight after that to replenish, like get the oxygen running through my body properly. And then I'll sit and I'll have 15 minutes worth of meditation usually. Nice. And then crack on with the day. It depends. If I'm fasting, then I won't eat until 12 o'clock. But if I'm not fasting, I do tend to eat, make one of my breakfast shakes, protein oats and peanut butter and everything. Or my spinach shake. So spinach, blueberries, mixed nuts, protein in there, a bit of ice, oat milk, peanut butter. Sounds rank, but it's beautiful. Yeah. And then half a banana, blend that, have that, and it does me for a good half of the day then, which is bang on. And yeah, for the rest of the day, like I say, if I'm not busy, I'll find an intention to go do something. So whether it's spending time with the guys, do a little bit of research into other investments, what I'm looking at, contact a couple of other clients. If it's not a busy time, just contact the clients, check in, see if they fancy a meetup or a chat. see what they've got in mind for future, if they're wanting anything. Even if they're not wanting anything, I do like to just stay in touch with clients and stuff. And then just each day, just try and set the intention to be doing something productive, really. So a few things going on. But yeah, regardless of whether I'm busy or not, I do try and just jump in, even if it's for a minute. Even if, like, I used to avoid doing it if I couldn't stand in there for 10 minutes. So I was like, oh, it's not benefiting me. But then the more that I realized that I wouldn't do it consistently, the less likely I would do it for the longer time. So I was like, even if it's for a minute, be consistent every single day. Just consistency is key. So I was like, yeah.
Have you heard the latest Andrew Huberman podcast, where he's analysed some of the new science and research that's come out about cold therapy, and it shows you only need to do 11 minutes in a week.
Okay.
That 50 degrees mark, or that sort of 59, 60 degrees Fahrenheit for your health and longevity. Obviously, when it's looking at mental health, you want that alternating different temperatures. You want to activate the sympathetic nervous system because it puts you through that fight or flight response. Joe, you said a couple of things, and I just want to know if I can just give you a bit of feedback.
Of course, mate. Yeah.
But when you said that you was really busy and you felt like you made the decision to sort of you knew it was going to affect your mental health a bit, but you made that decision because you knew that it was only going to be short term, and that you was going to come back and you was going to take the time off and get back into your normal routine. So when you were saying that, it reminded me when I first had the idea with CRYOSHOWER and ran off, and I started taking on too many tasks, and I went on this thing of, all of a sudden I'd find this nice rhythm, and then it would come crashing down because something else would come up. And I found this, and I found it really hard that I kept disrupting my routine, and I started getting frustrated. And then what I realized is it was the way that I was framing it. And it was when you turned around and said, I knew that I was willing to give up a little bit on the mental health stuff that I'm working on. But when you frame it like that, we open up those channels. But if we reframe it with, well, actually, no, I've got to do this to get me to that next point. And that's why I love, like, for instance, you might have a cold shower, and let's just say that your cold shower isn't hitting that 15 degrees. But still, whatever that cold is going to be better than no cold. So maybe using that, and that's the one consistent thing which I use my morning cold therapy, my morning cold hit with the cold shower as my anchor of when I'm starting the day. So I go from morning routine, whatever the morning bit is that I have the time and I can do, but then I have my anchor point is my cold shower, and then that's it. I start my day, whatever it is. Cold shower. I also sometimes, if I've had a tough day, I will jump in. I will always have a cold shower in the evening, but I like now finishing on cold because I've noticed it induces my sleep better. And I have seen in some science supports that it actually induces, like, puts you in REM. You get more quality deep sleep, like REM sleep. Not sure what's going on. Obviously, I'll that's some investigation that I will do, but it seems to be from a personal perspective. It seems to be working.
Nice.
So just bringing it back, what would you say your favorite type of sort of cold exposure would be?
For me, I'd say my favorite type would definitely be when it's time with other people, I'd say. Yeah. Just because I found that the community that I joined with the new guys and stuff is the reason why I'm doing it in the first place. So when I do get to do it with them, it does remind me constantly of where I've kind of come from with it and the reason why I did it and the benefits of doing it. Like, if I'm having a tough day and I've stood in the shower, like I say, every now and again I will have one in an evening, especially if I've done a hard training session. I'll try and have a cold shower just for the recovery. If I've like had a tough day and I'm standing in the shower and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I still doing this? I'm putting myself through more pain. I've had enough for this today. Why I'm putting myself through more pain and stuff. And I'm like, it always takes me back to when I did start doing it. And it reminds me of like the energy of the other people that I'm around constantly. This is what I love about it quite a lot. It constantly brings me back to those good times with those people. And what I like to do is try and make as many of those memories with these people as possible now. so that it doesn't start to go off in the distance and become blurred. I've always got fresh memories of it, because every single time that I've done it, even when it's snowed, there's been bits of ice on the water and stuff, and it has been horrendously cold. Like, I think the lowest one that we measured were like 6 degrees or something, maybe a little bit less. For me, that's horrendously cold. I am still working my way up. I know you get these crazy guys abroad that are like swimming under the ice and everything, and like coming up with the ice creams, and but like, obviously it's a way for me to build it up. But even then, when I'm in the painfully cold ones, I still have a laugh doing it. I still have fun doing it. It always brightens my day up, like just being around these guys. So I think for me, is the community that has been developed around cold water with the people that I've met is my favorite thing to do with it. Especially if we've been on an amazing hike somewhere as well, and then we finish it off with a jump in the water just before we get back to the car, or even if it's at the top half the time, we jump in. We got to make the soggy walk back home. We do try and take towels, but we don't always know. And then the nice soggy walk back home, and it's like, it's so worth it, just in the community that's been built around it, and the way that it gets these voices out of my head and stuff. So this is a huge thing. If you don't mind going off on a tangent here, is a huge thing for me that cold water has helped with, is silencing these voices in my head. So I used to suffer quite a lot when I was younger with like the voices in my head. And you might notice through the podcast, I'll sometimes do a little twitch and things. I used to be horrendous with my twitches. I used to get called noddy at school, because I used to sit there and nod my head and like this, really bad with twitches and flicking light bulbs on and off and stuff like that, all little voices in my head. And it was constantly, the voices in my head would constantly be saying things like, you need to do this. Yeah, you have to do this, or something bad's going to happen. You know, it's a classic kind of thing, what I know that a lot of people suffer with. But for me, my escape from that really kind of helped me a lot, because I found, especially when I would get bogged down and stressed and burnt out, is when those voices will come back with a vengeance, massively. And since I started doing film and photography, don't get me wrong, I love my job, but as anybody knows, that when you start working for yourself and running your own company, it's tough. It's very tough. You know, there's it's that I forgot, it's a video, and it says something like, I didn't want to work a 9 to 5, so I started my own company. Now I work 24/7. You know, you don't get the time off. It's a killer. But you hit that burnout stage. For me personally, whenever I'd hit that burnout stage, which in 3 years, I think I had 2 days off or something, I was massively burnt out, and those voices came back with a vengeance. And I was struggling at home. I was still living with my parents at that point. Me and my mum were clashing every single day. I wasn't doing well with my girlfriend at the time. And I didn't really have my old friends that I were with. Love those guys and the girls to bits. Like, they're brilliant, but they're not on the same path as what I wanted to be on. I wasn't on it yet, but I wanted to be on a different path. So everything just kind of spiraled out of control. The voices came back with a vengeance. Now, when I started with the cold water, like I said originally, when I did the first one, the instant reaction was, can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die. And after the first minute or two, my body actually settled, and it was like, oh, I've not died. Oh, I am still doing this. Yeah. Oh, all right, yeah, maybe this isn't too bad. But if I'd have listened to those fight or flight responses that were going on in my head, so these voices going on in my head, I'd have got out, I wouldn't have accomplished it. Don't get me wrong, it has still been an achievement for me to get in and get out. It's something that I'd never done before, but I wouldn't have met the goals I actually wanted to meet. Because, you know, I had the encouragement of the other guys, like saying, come on, you've got it, another minute, just try another minute, like, you're fine. If you do need to get out, you know, there's no peer pressure. But those guys understand what was going on in my head, because they'd had it before. They were like, you are safe, you are okay. And even hearing that from those guys helped silence the voices in my head. And as soon as I did it, I went back home, and I think I sat there for about 2 hours just thinking about it. And I just sat in my room, completely silent, and I was just thinking about everything. And I was like, I really beat those voices for the first time ever. Like, not ever, because I've beaten them in the past, but it's not been through conscious like acknowledgement of me beating them. It's more just been like, oh, they've disappeared for a while, so I've seen it as I've beaten them. There hasn't been any purposeful work done towards beating them. It's more just been situations have changed and they're not as bad. But this time through, I really put myself in that situation where I had to beat them. And I really acknowledged it. The only other time that's actually happened is in my training. But me growing up as an absolute action film junkie, you know, like watching the Rocky films and any film with like Arnold Schwarzenegger in or anything like that, and seeing how hard those guys train, my mindset was in tune with that. So when it came to training, I could push and I could go, and the voices weren't quite there. They would be a little bit, but not to the degree of this. But outside of training, they would be amplified massively. Like, because I never done the mindset training towards other areas of my life, just with my training. So to see that I could overcome that quite quickly outside of my training and silence these voices, I then made a conscious decision to constantly be asking myself certain questions when I was in certain situations where I didn't feel comfortable or where I didn't want to be there. You know, it'd be certain things like, is this going to kill you? No. Can I stay here for another minute? Yeah, I could do another minute. Is this actually going to help me or is it going to help somebody else? Well, yeah, it's going to help me because I need to sit and listen to this. Or yes, it's going to help someone else because I'm supporting them there. And I've carried these questions on in multiple different ways now as well. So it's like whenever I'm doing anything now, I try and ask myself 3 questions. If I start doubting myself. So like I say, going back to it, is it going to benefit me? Is it going to benefit somebody else? And could I spend the time doing this, doing something else? I can't word it now. Could I spend this time doing something else that would be better spent doing something else? Sorry. And if at least 2 of those 3 questions are not yes, then I don't do it basically. So like, is it going to benefit me? Yes, it will benefit me. So cold water, for example, is it going to benefit me? Yes, because it's going to help my body. Is it going to benefit somebody else? Yes, because it's going to put me in a better headspace so that for the rest of the day, I'm going to be nicer to people. I'm going to be more aware of things. And I might not get as triggered as quick. So when I go home, if my mum's having a bad day, if she starts kicking off, can I then be in a better headspace for me to not react and to actually talk to her about it and everything like that? And could I spend this time doing something else that would benefit me more? You know, it's 2 minutes out of my day, or it's 5 minutes out of my day. What is gonna majorly benefit me more with 5 minutes of time than this? You know, so if it's not ticking those boxes, then I don't do it. You know, even like flip it again, eating unhealthy. Is this going to benefit me? Going to McDonald's right now? No, it's not. It's really not. It's going to cost me money and it's going to fill my body full of crap. Yeah. You don't mind me saying. Is it going to benefit somebody else? Well, no, because I'm not buying food for anybody else. So no, it's not. Could I spend this time, what I'm doing right now, could I spend the time going to McDonald's, waiting in line, sitting and eating in my car and then going back home? Could I spend that time doing something else more productive? Let's say it takes 30 minutes for me to drive down there, order my food, eat it, and get back. Yeah, I can sit and read something for 30 minutes. Right, okay, I'm not going to McDonald's. So I tried to implement these questions and these voices that come into my head. Go get a McDonald's, go get a McDonald's, go get a McDonald's. No, I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions right now whether I should do it or not. And I rely on those answers to determine what I'm going to do.
And it's a great way to track that you're on track with what your goals and your vision are for your next, you know, wherever you're trying to get yourself.
This is it. It's constantly checking in with yourself. And I find that when I ask those questions, I am constantly checking in with myself.
Yeah. So how would you, so in a process of like what you've brought outside, so what has cold therapy sort of taught you of like stepping into the water? I understand that you like doing it with the guys and you get that extra energy rush. The endorphins most probably goes off the roof because I've seen,
yeah,
like I said, people have to go and watch these videos. You guys at your level, but the support that is there is, you know, you most probably end up staying in a bit longer, and that rush of energy most probably goes with you for an extra few days. And what I would really like to sort of explore is sort of when you said I don't really like the showers that much. So I would then be looking it around because I love having the community cold therapy plungers and going out. you know, you're talking, you're in a different headspace. But I also like being in the shower in my own. And if I've got something that I need to tackle, that's where I do it. You know, I clear I clear that mental fog or that stress or whatever it is that's in my way, and I'll do the work, and I find that tranquility in the shower. You know, and that comes with time. You know, step by step. But obviously, you know, from where you were when you first started to where you are now. You know, how do you use cold therapy differently, and what does that journey happen? So from what you sort of did from that first experience to sort of now, and how was that transcribed into your personal life, like you've just said? I'm really interested to see, because obviously you've explained some things, but I'd really like to explore like what you sort of take away for, like, gave you that stronger mindset through cold therapy.
Of course, yeah. So with me, like I say, the shower's not always my favorite, especially if I am in a rush, but I do force myself to do them. When I say they're not my favorite, it's not that I don't enjoy them, just I enjoy the community side a lot better than just doing it on my own. But I do still enjoy the showers, because I know every single time I step out of that cold water, I'm going to have a better day than if I didn't, because I know that my mindset is already wired to process things better, to take information in from people better, and to deal with certain situations better. So it's almost like maybe an affirmation. I'm not sure if that's the right one, but I'm like, I know that doing this cold shower will benefit me. So even if that saying this tricks my brain into going, oh yeah, no, it will do. Like, regardless if it did or didn't, I'm pre-programming my brain constantly by saying, this cold shower will benefit me, because our cells in our body listen to what we say. This is where the positive affirmations come in. If you just think about these positive affirmations, it's not as powerful as actually speaking it out loud. Because I know a lot of people might not believe in it, but it has been scientifically proven that your cells do react to things that you do, things that you say. Like, it is like they are all listening. Like, there have been a lot of studies from high-end like universities and other doctors and stuff that have proven that your cells do actually listen. So even when before I get in, I always say, I know this cold shower is going to help me today. This cold shower will benefit me today. And then I get in, I get out. I've never not felt good after getting out of a cold shower or getting out of the cold water. Don't get me wrong, when it's freezing cold and it's snowing and everything, it's a lot difficult to tell yourself that. But regardless of the situation, I have always 100% of the time felt better for doing it straight away. And yes, it did take some time to do it. Like, say, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable at all, especially for maybe the first couple of weeks of doing it. You know, even if you're doing it 2 or 3 times a week, it's not easy. You know, some people may find it easier than others, but that shouldn't discourage anybody to do it. If you're finding it more difficult to do, it probably means that you will benefit from it more. You know what I mean? Because it's a tougher task for you to do. There should be no shame in this. Is where I kind of came to terms with it quite a lot, because I used to time myself in the shower and I'm like, I need to do longer every single day. And I made it more of a challenge, but then I get annoyed with myself if I couldn't stay in it longer another day, rather than just appreciating myself for actually taking the time out to do it. You know, so no one should be disheartened especially if you go with like a group of guys. For example, we got some of the guys that can, you know, they're training for the ice mile, should I say, where they have to swim a mile in 4 degrees or lower water. And if at any point that goes above 4 degrees, it's cancelled, like it's done, they fail. So it's a very difficult thing to do. But like, some of these guys will stay in for 20, 30 minutes when it's freezing cold. And I'm like, how are you doing that? And I used to get disheartened by it, but then I came to realize, why am I getting disheartened at achieving something for me? This isn't about a competition. It's about benefiting me. You know, all those guys celebrate every single time we get in and every single time we get out. So try not to turn it into a competition was one of the things for me. So even, like I say, just jumping in for a minute at a time, you still achieve something straight away. That's the first thing on your day ticked off. Well done. Well done. There you go. First, and it starts a rolling process. So you start going. When you achieve one thing, you want to achieve another. You feel good for it. You want to achieve another, then another, then another. So start off with this every single day. That's what I try and do.
And work within our own limits. You know, this is what
Exactly.
a lot of us, and this is what a lot of the problems are. We're always focused on what's going on outside, and you know, life is happening in here.
Exactly.
And it's taken us a long time to realize that, but it's something that we've opened up to. And I love the way that you said, you know, all our cells are listening, and you know, everything's connected within us and outside of us. And there's another thing when you mentioned about the communications with the cells within our body, it made me think of this guy, that Masaru Emoto.
Oh yeah.
And he's the guy that did the research on water, and saying gratitude to water, and it formulated like sacred geometry shapes.
Mm-hmm.
We're 80% or over 80% water. So if you're in the water, cold water, you're giving yourself these positive affirmations, or you're just thinking positively. And the other thing that I also liked is that when you said is, you know, that when you get into the water, that you know that you're going to feel amazing. And sometimes you don't even have to think about it, because it's so imprinted inside of you now from those community cold water exposures to in your shower, that you don't even think about it. So it's, and I noticed that with myself, we step in for one reason. And what we find is all of a sudden, all these other benefits, and we start forming new neural pathways. We start to change the way that we think, which you are now experiencing, you know, calming that inner chatter, that self-talk, and turning it into something that's positive and driving you forward. You know, it's amazing. So
definitely. And like you said, like with the whole bit with knowing that it is going to benefit you, I think a lot of people struggle with it is because it is something that's quite new to a lot of people in society. A general thing would be, if you went to the gym, you worked out for half an hour, you know that's going to benefit you more than not going to the gym and not working out, right? But that's a general thing. So everybody around knows that going to the gym can benefit you, right? If you're training properly, obviously, if you're not doing stupid stuff, you're training properly, you're training smart, and everything is going to do better. If you eat better, so if you eat a big dirty burger from any place that's full of grease, or if you've got a nice, let's say like chicken salad with healthy sauces on and stuff like that, which one's going to benefit you more? You know the salad's going to benefit you more than a big greasy burger, right? But these are things that we know will benefit us because society has taught us these things.
Yeah.
But we've not been taught about certain things like cold water, or like the positive affirmations, or even things like going and getting some help from like a psychiatrist. Why is that seen as like a bad thing? Oh, you're crazy, you got a psychiatrist, you know?
Yeah.
No, you don't need to be crazy to have a psychiatrist, you know? A lot of people now are getting, me for example, I've got a life coach. He's absolutely amazing. He's called Sean. I think he's been on already. He's phenomenal. Completely changed my life. A very good friend. And when he first spoke to me about life coaching, I thought, do I need life coaching? Like, I'm not mental. I know what I'm doing. And it's not that. It's just making something that's already good better.
Yeah.
So, and that's the same thing with cold water. But because we've not been taught about these sort of things, we've only been taught what society wants us to be taught and wants us to know. When something else uncomfortable comes about, we only see it as a bad thing, not as an opportunity to grow. So this is where I'm trying to go with it now. Any single thing that is uncomfortable, I look at it as, is this an opportunity for me to grow? Yes or no? And if it is, then yes. Obviously, going out and breaking my leg, that's something that's bad, and it's not going to give me the opportunity to grow. So I'm not going to go do that. But jumping in the cold water for 10 minutes with a great bunch of people and helping my body recover and helping my mindset grow is going to benefit me. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable to do, but it's going to help me. So yes, I am going to do it. So it's about picking out all these areas of where we can potentially grow that are outside of what society has already taught us, and taking those on as well consciously to do on a regular basis.
And so what is it? So you've already answered several of this sort of question, but if there was sort of one sort of thing, what is it that you would love or enjoy most about cold therapy? And what is that thing that gets you stepping back into the cold?
stepping back into the cold would definitely just be, above all, the mindset behind it, like how it has improved my mindset. There's multiple areas behind it on how it's improved my mindset. Like say, one is the community. We've got a large group of people that come down and do it from all walks of life. Like every different type of person that you can think of is part of this community that we've built. So meeting all these people, and you know, and for me, a lot of it as well, as it's got a lot of stereotypes out of my head. So one of the guys who's absolutely incredible, like he's been through a lot of troubles in his life, and he looks like a scary dude. You know, he's massive, he's built, face tattoos, he's big dude and everything. And he is one of the most gentle, sweetest men I've ever met in my life. Like absolute heart of God. You see him with his kids as well. That guy lives for his kids and his, I think it's his wife or his girlfriend, maybe fiance, his partner. Let's go with partner. Yeah. He lives for them, you know, and you can chat with this guy all day. And don't get me wrong, this guy's had some troubles. He's been through some stuff in his life, but he is one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. And if I hadn't have been around him in that kind of community in the past, I'd try not to do it as much now. Every now and again it slips out. But I'd have probably looked at him and gone, God, it looks like a right thug. But the community that's built around all of this has opened my eyes to how backwards thinking that was. Yeah. And how just I'm like presuming someone would be this way inclined just because of the way they look. I know this is like a generic thing, but this is the way that I found it out, is through the community, through Cold Water, and meeting all these different kinds of people and stuff. You know, we've got sports guys, we've got life coaches, we've got photographers and videographers, we've got radiographers, we've got bricklayers, plumbers, anything and everything going. All the people that go down to that are all looking for the same thing, and that's self-development. And I was like, these guys and women are exactly like me. They just want to be better for themselves, yeah, and better for people around them. So I think that that's probably the main thing for me that the Cold Water has benefited, is it's like opened my eyes. And every single time that I'm doing it, I'm learning something new, whether it's within myself or through somebody else. Because for the community as well, we use it as a place where people can come and share. And it's a safe space, you know, like it's not going to get put out online and people aren't going to be gossiping about it. It's literally, you can come down and you can talk about stuff. You know, I went for a walk with the lads before with the tattoos and everything, and we shared all sorts. And I was like, I never knew you would have this kind of mindset with stuff. And I was like, geez, this guy's incredible. You know, he's absolutely incredible. I was like, I'd never thought that. But because we all go do these things, it gives us the opportunity to open up a safe space to be able to talk. So if there is a problem, you can air it out. If you want advice, you can ask for advice, and we will be there and give you the best advice that we possibly can. Or if you just want to go down, you just want to vent about something, you know how to deal with it already, but there's something just ticking over in your head. And you're like, I just need to get this out. Can I just vent out? Yeah, vent away. Let's do it. You know, it's just a safe space and a very, very good community. Like it's incredible. And like other people that I've met, like you, for example, through the Cold Water and everything, like your mindset's incredible, mate. And the work what you're doing with CRYOSHOWER is absolutely incredible. And, you know, like it's the people, I found that so many of the people that are involved in the Cold Water therapy all have similar sort of like aspirations and mindsets and stuff, you know, because you're doing this because you want to improve. So there's going to be other areas of your life as well that you want to improve in. So yeah, it's a fantastic community, massively. And obviously the physical aspects of it as well. I haven't really spoken about the physical aspects of Cold Water massively, but yeah, Cold Water just helps so much with those aches and pains. It's ridiculous. Like, especially after a big gym session, if I don't have a protein shake, for me, I found that my body reacts better when I have a protein shake within 30 minutes of finishing the session. Yeah. If I don't have a protein shake or a cold shower after my gym session, I'm right off for the next 2 or 3 days. Like, I am aching, and that is guaranteed. But if I do both of those, and if I add sauna in there as well, so jump in the sauna and jump straight into the cold shower straight after, I can have like one of the craziest sessions that I've had and feel like it's just been a light session afterwards. So it allows me to be able to train more often, more intensely.
Nice. Do you ever regulate your shower between hot and cold? So you might, like for instance, you finish the gym and maybe you haven't had time for the sauna and you'll do the hot, maybe switch it to cold for 30 seconds, a minute, go back to hot, have a get all warm and then finish. You ever switch in between?
If I've got time, I jump in, but I only really do it at home because at the gym where I'm at, they've got specific cold showers. Well, they're meant to be freezing cold, but they're not. They're just colder than the usual kind of showers. Because the normal showers don't go anywhere near as cold. They just blast boiling hot water on. So if there's room, I'll jump between the two. So I'll jump in the cold for a little bit and run to the hot, run back to the cold. But when I'm at home, again, the shower just doesn't get cold enough. It gets cold enough that it goes, whoo, kind of thing, but it's not a massive challenge for me in there, especially in the summer. In the winter, it does get to a point where it is a bit more challenging. Don't get me wrong, it does go cold enough for it to be a bit of a challenge, but I've only found it's only for a couple of months of the year. Whereas when you wanted to do this all year round, especially in the summer, if you get massive heat waves like we do over in England, completely out of the blue, and you're just like, right, okay, lukewarm showers now for a while.
Only a couple more months, Joe, and we'll have the CRYOSHOWER unit out there. But
there we go, mate.
I was just asking because when you referred it back to when you're training, when we did that last Tony Robbins event, and I was trying to keep up with all you spring chicken, it literally because of my back injury, I was man down for months. And I always said to myself once I started cold therapy that once I broke that barrier, that I was never going to go have a hot shower again. But obviously everything changed, and this was part of the routine. The thing is, I had to bring in hot and then finish and go between, and that actually improved my recovery and my mobility, my movement. So it started to open up sort of new ways of understanding understanding the management and maintenance of our bodies. For me, it was about chronic pain, life-changing injury, and yours is about management and maintenance of your body so that you can train more in most probably smaller amounts of time because you've got such a hectic schedule. This is
it. Yeah, I found that when I link the sauna and the cold shower together, that's it benefits me even more. Definitely, it also helps a lot with my breathing because, like I say, I do practice the Wim Hof breathing. So I do that either before I do meditation or I do it in the shower as well. But I find that when I do link the shower, the sauna and the cold shower, the sauna really attacks my chest because I suffer with asthma as well. So it really attacks my chest. But when I come out with a sauna and then go into the shower and then come back out, I'm like, oh my God, it constantly feels like I've only got half my lungs working. Like it's horrendous. But then when I do that, it feels like the rest of my lungs have gone, we're alive, we're here. You know what I mean? Like I can actually use the 100% capacity of my lungs for a little while. It doesn't last all day, but it gives me a lot longer and I feel a lot healthier and a lot better after doing it for a good couple of hours. And when I'm feeling better in that kind of state, I find that I can get my work done a lot faster because I'm not sat there like all lethargic and feeling half alive and stuff. I'm like, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm switched on, bam, I will get more work done in the first 4 hours of my day than I would do in 8 to 10 hours. You know, I used to do I refuse to do it anymore because it killed me off. Is I used to do 14-hour days every single day working, sat in front of the computer or shooting or doing something, you know, all day, every single day. That was it. And I found that if I do these routines, I get more done in 4 hours of working than I did doing the 14-hour days every single day. It's phenomenal, you know, and I link that with fasting as well.
Yeah.
God, game changer, absolute game changer for me personally. It works phenomenally. It really shocked me the first time that I did it, and I sat there, and I think it was about 2 o'clock. I think I sat down at 10 o'clock. I went to the gym, did the sauna, did the shower, hit my meditation and everything. Was ready to go by 10 o'clock. Sat down, boom, hit 2 o'clock, and I was like, I've got all my work done. I've edited 3 full videos today. I've booked in a new client. And I've pitched the whole idea to them. I was on the phone to them for about 45 minutes, pitched the whole idea to them. And I was like, what is going on? I've just done all of this. Usually that would have taken me 2 or 3 days to do. but I got it done in 4 hours. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. But it was because my mind, like the work isn't difficult, but it can be mind numbing sometimes. But I found that it just zeroed me in on the work, and rather than doing a little bit and then sitting back and, you know, picking up my phone, and I'm on my phone now for 10 minutes. And when you're picking up your phone for 10 minutes every half an hour, it adds up so much. This is the thing, sir.
You've sort of answered this question a little bit, but really it's you've answered a lot of the bits what cold therapy has taught you. But what is the anything that sort of stands out? And you mentioned sort of like improvement in your productivity, but is there anything else that sort of stands out that you've noticed personally from a personal performance perspective, whether it's your mindset, but something that you learned through by stepping into the cold, and that you know that, you know, whether it's consciously or subconsciously now, that you have introduced some of those sort of learnings?
Yeah, so a big thing would be, like I say, silencing the voices in my head was a big thing. What I've learned, how to actually battle those voices in my head quite a lot. Yeah. When they do come in, it's like, you can't do that. You're not strong enough to do that. Like, you're going to die if you do this. You can't do it. And it's like, nah, shut up, get out of my head. I'm going to try it anyway. If I can't do it, then I'll try again another time. And then hopefully I get to do it that time. But I'll at least try everything now. Nice. And that's just completely changed my life, like completely changed my life. And like I say, the group of guys that I'm with, they're not pressuring, but they do like to test limits. So if you genuinely sit there, you go, I'm not comfortable with this, like I really don't feel safe, they're like, calm, absolutely fine, no problem. But if you're just doubting yourself, they'll encourage you to push that limit. And I found that, like, I've gone so far since taking my first cold dip by just silencing these voices in my head and pushing myself to do a lot more. Benefits physically wise are just next to none. You know, I used to suffer with horrendous lower back pain, and my knees were shot from gymnastics. It's been quite a few times where I've injured myself. I sprained my neck, I've broken my collarbones, I've got a big scar down here now. I had to have surgery. I've done absolutely all sorts, but I find that the cold water just helps null that pain so much. And then the next day, it's nowhere near as painful, like at all. You know, like it doesn't 100% get rid. I found, for me personally, like, especially with my shoulder, like that's surgery. That's a big thing with it. But the actual progression that it gives me to be able to do these things with more confidence, for one, that I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be aching next day now. And to be able to just do them better is phenomenal, just from the cold water, even just from five minutes in the shower. You know, like, it just sets me so much more. And it also helps me keep track of where my body might be suffering. I found quite a lot. So I've identified it as when the areas of my body that start to heat up and really kind of vibrate, like my lower back, like my shoulder, like my knees, are things that need work on. So I know a guy that he loves his cold water and his inner work as well, but he's a PT. So he does a lot of mobility work, and he's given me a small program to start off with that's like helping improve my mobility. And already, because I've been able to identify from the cold water where a lot of my pain comes in, like my lower back and like my shoulder, like my shoulder flexibility is shocking. Like, to say I used to do acrobatics and hold people above my head, I don't know how I did it with my shoulder flexibility, but he's given me a bunch of things after they've been identified through the cold water, and where the pain comes from, where the heat comes from after the cold water. He's gone, right, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. And then I've been able to go away and start on these mobility exercises. I feel a million times better on top of the cold water as well. You know, it's like a constant progression. Just you get the ball rolling with it, and it leads into a million one things.
I love that where you said, and the way that I would sort of sum that up is that it's giving you the personal power, like, go by getting comfortable with that being uncomfortable, getting in the water, but it's giving you the personal power to close off or to silence the voice, to observe that chatter and go, man, what's going? Just on your bike, see you later.
why am I listening to you? What benefit have you got in my head? Absolutely zero, you know, because it's never, the ones that are coming in my head, it's never to keep me safe. I found it's never been like, don't put your hand in that fire, that's not safe kind of thing, you know, which is ironic coming from me, seeing as I do fire performing, you know, like obviously if you do go on my Instagram, you'll see me putting my hand through fire and stuff like that. But it's never been a safety thing. It's more just been telling me that I can't do something out of sheer disbelief in myself. And the fact that it silenced that has been completely game changing for me.
So what would you say, Joe? Someone's heard all about the hype about cold therapy. They want to try it, or they've tried it once and they had that, the fight or flight, but they gave up and they didn't go, they don't fancy going back in, but we know that it's something that you've got to be persistent at. What would you say to somebody to get them to step in for the first time or to get themselves back in?
Yeah. So like you say, the persistence with it, consistency is key with it. That's one of the biggest things at first. So forcing yourself to do it, even if you're not enjoying it, eventually you will benefit from it. You know, like you will get there. For me personally, the community has been the thing that's really helped me with it. So if you can, there's loads of community groups on different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, everything, all over the country. And I'm sure, like obviously we're in the UK, but I'm sure over in America, there's plenty more as well. Find a community, see if they can help you with it. You know, I can't guarantee that every community is going to be good, but I bet there'll be a lot of them out there that will genuinely really help. If you are around the Leeds kind of area, West Yorkshire area, if you are looking at doing it for the first time, as you said, you're going to leave some links below to my page and everything. Get in touch with me. You can come with our community. You know, there's a bunch of crazy guys and crazy women that jump on it, and they're absolutely insane, but they all have so much love for each other. It's great. If I find a lot of people, for me, turn around and say, "Oh, I ain't got time for it," you know, like I don't have the time. So I kind of twisted something that I read ages ago that was to do with money. And I think it's 1,440 minutes in a day. I think if I'm getting that right. And they said about if you've got 1,440 pounds in your bank, would you let someone just come and take it out and not have a problem with it? No, you would have a problem with it. So I say is like you say with the time thing, you got 1,440 minutes in a day. Why are we giving up this time on useless things, right? So could you spare 2 of those 1,440 minutes in a day? Could you spare 2 of those minutes in an entire day? Right? I think personally, I think that we all could, because I can guarantee you could go without picking up your phone one time in the day where you'd spend 2 minutes on your phone. You know, I know a lot of people say, yeah, I need to be on my phone because I need to answer clients and I need to do this and need to do that. So are you telling me that in the entire thing, every single time you pick up your phone, it is simply to benefit you, and it's not to scroll on TikTok, and it's not to scroll on Instagram, or it's not to have a look at what someone else is doing or something? I can guarantee that at least one of the times that you pick up your phone, that's what you'll be doing, right? So instead of doing that one time in the day, jump in a cold shower instead. Spare those 2 minutes that you would spend picking up your phone and doing something that would not benefit you in the slightest, to go and do something that would benefit you by standing in a bit of cold water for 2 minutes. Yeah, that's for me. I
just want to add, so the way that you sort of categorize that is like that 2 minutes. And then I just started thinking those 2 minutes, or your return on investment for those 2 minutes, is life-changing.
100%. Yeah. Yes. Because the 2 minutes that you spend in that cold water could save you an hour of doing work later down the line. Like I said, I get more work done when I started doing this, I found that I got more work done in 4 hours than I would do in 8 to 10 hours. Right. So spend 2 minutes in the cold water and turn a 2-hour job into an hour job. That way you've not lost 2 minutes over here. You've actually gained an hour over here. You know, like you say, your return on investment is incredible. Absolutely incredible. If you can do this, like for me, it's completely changed my life. So sacrificing 2 minutes over here to gain an hour over here is a no-brainer. Absolutely no-brainer.
Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I love hearing your cold therapy journey. What we like to do here, we like to give the last closing words to you, let people know where they can connect with you. We will link the links in the bio below, but any closing words that you've got, whatever it is that you want to share, say, the floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. So like you said, obviously the links will all be down below and everything. You can get in touch over Instagram or WhatsApp, anything like that. You're welcome to come and join our community. No matter where you are, we welcome anyone and everyone. But just take a chance. Honestly, just take. What's the worst that is going to happen? If you try it one time, what is the worst that's going to happen? You lose half an hour out of one day, maybe. That's if you're going somewhere like to a reservoir or something. Travel there, jump in, jump back out. That won't for me. That's fair enough. Okay, take 2 minutes out of your day. Take a chance. Just try it. What is the worst that can happen? When was the last time that you tried something in a conscious effort to benefit yourself, rather than trying something just because someone's said, "Oh, let's go do this." It's a bit different. Take that risk. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah. Just in case, Joe, that it's on a platform where there isn't a bio, do you just want to let people know what your social handles are and what so mainly find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram, that's the main thing that I use at the moment. I do have other platforms, but I very rarely check them. It's mainly on the Instagram and WhatsApp, mainly just for business purposes. I find that they work the best for me. So my Instagram is Joe Penny __. So that's JOEPENNY __. You can message me on there. If you are interested in joining the WhatsApp group, I can take your number from Instagram, add you into the group. Now, be prepared. There's a lot of people in there and there's a lot of crazy people in there. So be prepared, okay? But you're more than welcome to be a part of our community. Share your stories as well. Myself and Dean both love absolutely hearing everybody's stories. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much. Guys, you know what to do. Listen to Joe, step into the cold.